Back on the roof, Jay.
Found the keys.
All right. Company is less extremely angry than before. Now just thinking that we're idiots.
Hi guys, welcome to today's McInnes Marketing Moment. I'm Jay McInnes. Today we're on the roof again. Finally we found the keys, so we're back up here. My favorite spot to do this. Today we have a question from James. Thank you for sending the question through, sir, on how do you know a building is a good building when you're going to purchase. So we have put this together. A bit more reinforcing information on the blog you can go find at McInnesMarketing.com, but today we're going to go through the main things that we look for in deciding for our clients if the building is a good building worth buying. We're going to go through a few of the fundamentals now, in addition to always going through the minutes of the strata when you are going to purchase and getting an inspection are things that are not neglected here. Those are things we suggest doing every time, but today we're going to go through a few of the fundamentals, starting with envelopes. The envelope of the building, or the outer skin of the building. I'm just going to give some examples here first before we jump in. This is Governor's Tower. This is the high-rise portion, or the taller of the two. You can see this is on the right side a brick veneered building. You can possibly see, depending on how zoomed in Ben behind the camera can get, there's little weep holes at every single level. This building was rain screened a handful of years ago, and those are the weep holes as a part of the rain screen system. So look for that when you're looking at brick veneered buildings. To the right, we've got the lower high-rise of the same development, and you can see this is now stucco-clad exterior. Everyone gets all weary about stucco from the whole leaky condos, 80s, 90s stuff, but stucco is still used today, just with a rain screen system as well. So if you see at each level you've got the flashing going right across, that shows that the stucco there is rain screen, and if you were to go up and you can reach under the top of that flashing, you can feel the mesh, which is the big full-size weep hole on that system. And finally, most commonly, we've got the Charleston in the back here. It's a completely curtain-walled system. So like both of these, it's concrete structured high-rise, and there's just glass surrounding the entire thing. So you've got frosted panels, as you can see, and then of course transparent panels, but just glass curtain wall, which is a very easy system to maintain. And last but not least, Ben, we didn't talk about this one, but the gray, lighter and darker gray, which is the Oscar just behind the beautiful Grace here, is again finished concrete exterior with window systems put in. So painted finished concrete, which is kind of the most common today, the most dumbed down, but the easiest to maintain. And yeah, those are a few of them. Ben's telling me to speed up, so we'll jump right into it.
Second one on our list is plumbing. So plumbing, if it's a newer building, not so much of a concern. Of course, still keep an eye out for it. But on the older buildings, is there any visible signs of leaking? So where you can actually see a leak in some of the roof or through the drywall at all? Has there been mention of it in the minutes? Has there been some spot repairs? Has the plumbing been entirely replaced? Does it need to be replaced? If the plumbing work has not been done, it's not 100% an issue. It's just, are they keeping on top of it? Have they been doing like a plumbing report and a test just to make sure everything's running smoothly? Are there very active amounts, very regular repairs? Then that's likely going to... I can't speak today. Are there a lot of repairs taking place and likely going to need a replacement being necessary? And also as well for some of the older buildings, so a lot of the time in kits when they didn't have in-suite laundry, when the plumbing work has been redone, does it now allow in-suite laundry? And that's basically replacing the system to accommodate the pressure that's required for the in-suite laundry. Ductwork is another conversation. Again, so not 100% an issue if it's not been done, as long as it's being maintained and it's being monitored, because letting that one go and just hoping for the best can be a very costly exercise.
Yeah, and why plumbing is a big thing as well is because it's pretty much the most invasive general building maintenance job that can be done. They have to obviously bore into the walls and replace the physical pipes within the walls, which sounds kind of obvious, but just so you know. And when they're coming in to do those in the buildings, you're obviously without water for a set amount of time. Very messy work, opening the walls, cutting the piping, and doing all this sort of stuff. So this is a big one to be on top of. It's a very large job. Cost-wise, it's up there as well, second to the envelope. And yeah, as Ben said, you will typically a lot of the time start to get pinhole leaks, and the minutes will highlight if and when, how often that's happening and getting patched, until it's no longer economical to patch but replace. So a big ticket item to know what you're getting into, for sure.
And the third one on our list is the roof. This is a bit of a harder one to maintain. If you're going to buy into a unit, definitely check the minutes and any reports for this. When you get your inspector in as well, ask if they can get, or ask your agent to make sure they can get access to the roof and any common area spaces as well. They can do a visual check on the place, see if there's any work that looks like it's going to need repairing, if there's any conversation in the minutes that there's any spot repairs that need doing, or there's going to be a replacement. Again, this is a hard one, kind of like the plumbing. There's not a set amount of time that the roof is only going to last. So is it being regularly monitored? Is it being maintained? Are spot repairs becoming more and more often, leading to, again, a potential replacement? Because once again, that's a costly thing to just let sit and hope for the best. Not so invasive as the plumbing, but still costly, which obviously when you're buying into a home, the last thing you want is some sort of special levy, a large fee coming towards you after you've put all that money down on a home as well.
Yeah, so with this, like Ben said, time frame wise, let's say a roof is assumed to have a 25-year life. If not maintained and repaired properly, there could be failure prior. We've done videos in the past about depreciation reports. In that report, for example, it would say in this circumstance the roof has a 25-year life and we're 20 years through. That roof could last to 32 years. So it can go either side of the expected life of the material and the roof structure itself. It's just a matter of, is the strata being proactive, monitoring, patching when needed, and are you seeing that sort of detail in the minutes?
So those are our three main items that we look for. Of course, you're going to check through any minutes and depreciation reports to see what else is coming up and the cost of such and the extent of the work that is happening or needs to happen in the near future. One thing we would point out is a lot of people think I'm not going to buy a building which is 20 years old. That's not necessarily the smartest way to move forward, as a lot of a building that's 20 years old today, built in 1999, seems crazy that was 20 years ago, but a lot of those codes and standards used then are very similar to the codes and standard used now, meaning they're typically very effective and reliable in most cases. A 20-year-old building today versus a 20-year-old building in 2000 with two completely different homes. So as long as you're checking that the integrity and the things that we mentioned above, along with those minutes, are all in good form, you shouldn't just class off anything below 2010, for example, unless you're specifically after something which is in that 2, 5, 10 range of maybe like a pre-sale or something like that.
That has a 2, 5, 10 warranty.
There we go. So guys, that's it this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being back on the roof with us after you managed to save yourself in the nick of time. And we will see you next week. Please drop us a review, subscribe, and thank you to James for the question. Hopefully that answered all of your queries. And if you have any more, reach out. Thank you guys.